Uh, all right, welcome everyone. So today we are going to introduce you to Azure Data Engineering Associate Training, and the trainer for this is Mr. Venkat. So Venkat sir has over a decade of experience on data engineering, and this course is primarily focused for engineering graduates and also candidates who is having a 0 to 2 years of experience and who wanted to come into data engineering domain primarily. Please make sure that you utilize the time, interact with Venkat sir to get all the details about the course. So over to you, Venkat sir. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining this demo this early morning. Okay. Welcome to Azure Data Engineering Associate course. This course is conducted by Talent Tech Solutions. Okay. So as part of this demo, we will go through what kind of what is the course curriculum, right? What you will be going to learn, and we also talk about how the data engineering role present in the industry. And we also talk about how many positions will be there in the industry for data engineering. And then we can also talk about what will be the salary, average salary of a typical data engineer. And then we get into a demo how a data engineer works in his or her day-to-day life. Okay. Okay. So this is like your instructor, Venkat. So I worked as enterprise architecture as well as data engineer in IT industry. I have total 11 plus years of experience working in data engineering and also architecting data engineering solutions. Okay. So I also have a certifications in various technologies and cloud infrastructures, right? Where data engineers will use it on a day-to-day basis, right? I have certified in AWS and Azure and the Snowflake technologies, okay? So my role throughout this course is like to help you like in your journey, right? In your learning journey of data engineering. I'll be helping you as an instructor as well as mentor in order to achieve your goals. Can someone go to the like the can you mute yourselves? I'm hearing a background noise here. So this is like this slide talks about the course which you're gonna enroll after this demo, right? And as part of this course, what we will teach you is like we'll try to teach you how to create a data warehouse or a data lake. So when I say data warehouse or a data lake, what does that mean? So that is nothing but you have data in multiple systems. For an example, I have, can someone go into mute? Like I'm hearing background noise. I don't know like from where it is coming. Okay, so still I'm hearing it. Kumar, do you know who is that?
Mostly, Viresh is not on mute. Viresh, would you be able to keep you on mute for some more time? Yeah. So Venkat, you can also make a participant mute. So you can just click on the button there.
Who is the participant?
Viresh. Okay. So yeah, probably they're connected with mobile, I think, mostly sometimes.
Okay. Coming back, in this course, you will learn how to create a data warehouse or a data lake. When I say data warehouse, what does this mean, right? You have data generating in multiple systems. For an example, you can ask me what is the data generation, right? You open up WhatsApp, right? You type a message to your friend. So any message, hi, good morning, whatever it is, that is you are generating the data for WhatsApp systems, right? And if you go to Facebook and like a post, or if you go to image and like if you go to Instagram and like an image, so that is like you are generating the data, right? This data will get stored in the backend system, right? See, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all these are belongs to a company called Meta, right? But this data is generating in multiple applications, right? They want to see this data together in a single application. They will build something called data warehouse. Data warehouse is nothing but you are trying to bring all your data from multiple applications into single place. So in this course, we'll try to see. Sorry.
Venkat, can you make me one of the co-hosts, please? I'll make sure that I'll track that. These are coming from students who are just joining. Yeah. Kumar, yeah. Yeah. So, team, all of you, please be on mute because there's some background noise that are coming in. So, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can talk. Yeah, I think we're all good. Thank you.
No, I cannot ask questions if I do this. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, please go on.
So what I was telling is like a data warehouse is a kind of a place where you bring all your data generating in multiple application and put it in a single place. That's called data warehouse. It's similar to your warehouse, right? Whenever farmer cultivates some crops, he wants to sell it in different season. He will try to store all his crops inside a warehouse. Similarly, people generates the data like as you use Facebook, you generate the data. You like some picture in Instagram, you generate the data. You send a WhatsApp message to your friend, you generate the data. So all this belongs to a single company called Meta, right? So if they want to store your data, they will create something called data warehouse, where in that warehouse they will store your data. So in this course, right, we will try to learn how to extract data from variety of sources. As I said in the example, Meta, they have 3 applications, Facebook, Insta, and WhatsApp, right? We will see how a data can be extracted from different applications, right? And there is something called, we also look into how to transform the data. So what you generated is through these applications is a raw data. So, but I just want to change the data from one form to another form. So I can use the transformations on your data. And also, we also look into how to store this data in a data warehouses or data lakes, right? Because we said like the ultimate goal of like data engineer is like you should be able to bring the data from any application. You should be able to apply business rules, whatever business is asking him to do, and he should be able to load the data into warehouses where they can store the data for years and years and do kind of an analysis if required in future. So as a data engineer, you'll be doing this extraction, transformation, and loading. So do you have any questions for now? Like, are you able to understand so far? Or do you have any questions you can ask me?
Yeah. Hi, Kumar. Hari here.
Yeah, Hari.
Yeah. Like whatever you said is a roles of ETL engineer, right? Extracting data and creating like like data lakes and data warehouses. I think it is a ETL developer roles and responsibilities. Then how different is a data engineer?
Yeah. So see, if you look at ETL, right? So basically, data engineer is nothing but the one who works with data day-to-day basis, right? So data is where it generates across multiple locations, right? You play around with the data, right? That's transformation, and you store it in a way which you need it. So ETL, I would say, is a kind of a technique a data engineer will use it, right? Whether the data engineer is using an on-premise, whether he's using Azure, right? Or he is using any other cloud. So the technique he use it to bring the data into data warehouses, ETL. The technique will be the same, right? But what he is as a person is a data engineer. So we are talking about ETL is the technique he is employing himself, right, to build a warehouse or a lake house. Hari, do you got that or?
Yes, yes. Like what are we using any kind of tools by like for extracting and doing transformations and
Yeah,
storing?
yeah.
Are we
Yeah,
using any tools?
yeah. So ETL, this technique was there from when the relational databases has been evolved. So this technique was the relational databases has been evolved in 1970, right? From that time onwards, you have this role called data engineer. But what has been changed recently is like in traditionally data engineer used to rely on-premise systems and rely on tools which you need to purchase based upon the license and all that. Recently, like last decade onwards, this technique, right, ETL, is done on cloud systems, and also it is done in a model called pay as you go. You don't need to pay for license. Only if you use it, you pay it. If you're not using it, you don't need to pay it. So this gave some additional cost benefits for the company, and that's how it got revolutionized, right, in cloud. So in this course, we do talk about how you do this ETL technique on a cloud called Azure, and we also talk about a kind of a technology we use it to do this technique that is called Spark. So we talk about Spark technology. We talk about how you can perform this ETL using Spark and using Python language, right? And we use this technology Spark coming from the company called Databricks throughout this course. Hari, to answer your question, right? So we are introducing here a company called Databricks, and we are trying to introduce a technology called Spark, which was created by Databricks. And we are also trying to use a Python, right? And traditional ETL people would have not used these technologies, but these are the evolving technologies and cutting edge technologies as of today in the industry.
Okay, one more question. Sorry, if a person already able to use, like already able to do all these things by the help of like informatic or talent or something like I mentioned all these things, then why we are using Python, like Spark, all these things? In this we need to code, right? So what is the difference and what is advantages?
Yeah. Hi, this is Kumar. I think
Yeah.
I'll take this question. So I think there is a discussion going on, what is a data engineer also. I'll just give it in 2 lines before I answer the second question. See, traditionally, right? So when you speak about anything on ETL, we usually think of only tools, okay? So where you do a drag and drop and you do the same ETL extraction, transformation, and loading steps based on the relation database models, what was explained by Venkat sir. But now things have changed in the market. So now the expectations would be like you are given a set of data. A data set is given to you, and they are going to be business objectives given for you, and you should be able to implement it without using ETL tools. See, this one you are going to think like a data engineer. Okay, so that is the area. Okay, so for the data engineering right now from the company's perspectives, and the second one is we are talking more on the ETL because now the questions are already ETLs are in the market. Yes, probably we may also do the similar things. Now, why are we going to the new set of trainings on Apache Spark or Python as a data engineer? Okay, as I said, right. So now the companies don't want to invest as much as they had invested on the tools. See, the disadvantages of a tool is that now you'll be locked to one single ETL product, and say you wanted to extend the features of a ETL tool, it's very hard generally. It all depends on how these vendors are going to provide you a feature. Say, suppose you don't have a feature, you cannot go for a customization. That's one. So you're going to get into a locked-in state with the ETL tool. The second thing is you may also have to understand the point is So usually tools are expensive because you're going with a licensing model. Like per core, okay, on the machine specific licensing model, so which are becoming expensive. Now, the other thing is, again, we also talk about capabilities of a tool. It's all dependent on vendor specific, and you cannot actually increase. You wanted to get a support for a new kind of source of data or a database think of, or you wanted to get the data from something on the data lake, okay, on the cloud. Now, can we do it easily? No, it all depends on whether the tool provides this, and also there are many times they come with an extra cost. And the other thing is, if you see, right, so you're only taking one tool, like, Talent or Informatica there. So, I mean, and again, so there are set of projects that comes in always, only looking for these specific use cases. It won't work out like that. There are some use cases, which work for some other tool. Okay. And the projects you can see, there are some customers like J&J, very big customers. They use both the tools. Now, again, they're again locked in there with both the vendors, and they cannot actually go with the tool which is less cost also. So these are all happening. Okay. So to avoid all these challenges and all, so we are coming into something called Spark, Apache Spark. This is an open source project, and this is one of the fastest engine in the planet at this time right now. And whatever you have done using ETL tools usually take a long time. Okay, long time for you to develop and all. So because the coding, I'm talking about the coding part. So when you see about Talent and all, it generates Java code. It usually it's a very hundreds of lines and code of code. Now when it comes to Spark with Python, it's just like 2 to 3 lines of code. So that changes has already happened in the industry right now, and there's a reason we are studying Spark, and even organizations are going towards Python and Spark. Okay, I hope I answered most of the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you an example. Right? You want to understand why we are going away from the tools. I was also working as an enterprise architect, so I know the pricing figures of everything. Informatica charges 82 crores for license. In addition to this, they also charges Elite support fee also in order to give you support. Companies, right, they have to pay 82 crores for a license of an Informatica, which is very costly. If you use a Spark and Databricks, if you use it, you need to pay. If you're not using it, you don't need to pay. There is no Elite support concept. So you raise a ticket, they will, like, if you are a premium customer, they will support you. So is it better to pay 82 crores upfront and get a license and then pay for your developers and build a data warehouse? Or you can get rid of that 82 crores. If you use it, you pay it. How much you use it, you pay it. You don't need to pay any upfront cost. So that's kind of a big relief for the companies. If you look in the shoes of the company, this is kind of very, very advantage for them, cost effective to move away from licensed based tools to open source tool. And this open source tool is backed by a company called Databricks. If you get in any kind of a support, if you need it, Databricks provides that to them. So that's why they are moving towards from tool based to programming based thing. Hari, then you got this?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Anybody else has any questions? Okay. I will go to the next one. So yeah, there are a lot of people I know, kind of freshers, right? And so you just want to have this curiosity, what you will do as a data engineer in day-to-day, right, of your job, if you pick it as a data engineering, right, role. So data engineer primary objectives was listed in this slide. So what happens, right? You will be accommodated with a task like to create a data warehouse, right? Data warehouse, as we discussed, right, is a kind of a centralized place where you can store your data. So we comparing with a similarity like how the farmers will store their crops in a warehouse until a season for a demand comes. Similarly, you will be harvesting the data as a data engineer. And if you want to understand the historical activities happened inside your business, then you can use this data warehouse and try to understand the historical activities happen and try to predict what will be your future for your business as well based upon this historical data. So you'll be harvesting the data inside a data warehouse or a data lake, right? And in order to harvest the data, you need to bring the data from multiple locations. You have to transform the data in such a way that you apply business logics, like whatever the business requested, I need the data. Right now, the data is in the form called A. I need to store it in a form called B. I'm just taking A and B as an example. So you transform the data from form A to form B, and then you load the data into your data warehouse where you harvest your data in a centralized location. So this ETL is it will be there as part of your day-to-day activity, right? And since you are the ones who are harvesting the data, you'll also get some additional roles, right? Like there will be some teams who is consuming this data, right? You have a team called a reporting team. What they will do is like they will try to understand your data and they will try to put diagrams like pie chart, right, or bar diagrams, right, so that your business users will understand what is happening inside their company, right? Whether the statistics are showing up, statistics are showing down, and all that. So they can be understand using these visuals, right? So primarily, your consumer will be a team who works on visuals based upon your data, and also a team which works on machine learning. So this team will be predicting the future, like how if an event happened in the past, how much likely that event will happen in the future also, so that the business will be taking actions according to that. So your consumers will be a visualization team where they will show kind of statistics in a pictorial representation. The other consumer might be a machine learning team, right, who will be trying to predict constantly future of the company by looking at the historical or past events, right? So since you are harvesting the data, it's your responsibility to provide them access on the data whichever they requested, right? And also your responsibility here also to work on a cloud infrastructure. Now the companies, right, before COVID, they are trying to maintain their own servers inside their office locations, right? And this COVID pandemic made this lockdown came. It happened globally. Lockdown came and nobody is allowed to go to office and all that. And there are no resources to look over the servers which they bought, and there are no resources to look over the network connectivity and all that. This is kind of a bottleneck for the companies. So what they do is like they outsource this responsibility of managing a server, right? Looking over the networking, everything, all the infrastructure, they outsource to a companies called cloud companies, right? So popular cloud companies are Azure, AWS, and GCP. So when you pick a role of data engineer, the company whichever you are going, right, they might be getting servers from these cloud companies, AWS and GCP and Azure. So in a day-to-day life as a data engineer, you will be working on these cloud infrastructures. And as part of this course, we talk about how to build data warehouses in a cloud called Azure, right? So we will not talk about AWS and GCP, but for your understanding, I mentioned other clouds as well here. And also you need to get the requirements. When I say like requirements in the sense, so you get a data as a form A, right? That is a raw data coming from the systems. If a business would like to change it into a different form, so they will provide it as a requirement. So that is where your transformation layer will get evolved. So this requirements again comes from a stakeholders like business analyst or ML users, right? They will provide you these requirements. And if you look at this, there is a rapid growth of data in the industry. So that means you are generating the data. If you watch a YouTube video, you're generating the data. If you click Instagram like, you're generating the data. WhatsApp message, you're generating the data. So data generation is become faster and faster. And that's why the need or demand for data engineering is also growing along with the data generation by the end users. So this is a very kind of a demand role in the industry, because there is a lot of data. All these days, they don't have a compute power to analyze this data, to understand this data. The moment they get into cloud, they get all this processing power from the cloud infra. And once they get this power, they can look into more into the company business, and they can try to increase the business more. So obviously, right, you will be the primary person who try to harvest this data and help the company to be a better position in future. So this role is very, very important for any company. So do you have any questions? Guys, I think let's do it. It's an interactive session. So if you have any questions, if you're not following up, I can understand. You can raise your questions so that we can discuss. Okay. I just a general question, Resh, I just want to ask you. So how much this data engineering kind of roles are increasing year on year in industry? Like, can you guess how much percentage? For an example, today is 100. So how many roles will be opened the next year for data engineer? Can anybody guess?
Maybe 100%, like 200 or 150% per year.
I think 20 to 30%.
Okay, go on. Like, anybody can unmute themselves and give me a number.
Yeah, 30 to 40.
Okay. So this is a top role when compared to other roles in IT that is growing very, very fast, right? So if you look at these statistics, this is the fastest growing tech occupations, the roles. We have here backend developer, senior data scientist, CRM developer, UI and all that, right? So when compared to other roles, this roles year on year, this is a year over year growth. Like, there is a 50% increase. That means you have 100 roles this year, you will have 150 roles next year, right? And then on 50 plus 75 is 225. This is an example, right? So it is going at a very, very rapid pace. If you look at other roles which are present, right, they are not even near to this data engineer role. So you can run a company without a backend developer. You can run a company without a UI developer, because they might not have a need for building a website or and all that. But you cannot run a company with a data engineer. In earlier days, if you look at, right, they used to store all their business data in a files or something. They used to put it in their offices and all that, right? Now they cannot do it. Everything is going to digital, right? And every company needs data to understand what is happening inside the company, right? And in order to, the person who brings the data and put it together and harvest the data for business to look into is data engineer. So you will not have a company without this role, right? So that's why it is going to be very, very fast growing. Okay. And this
So
next,
one question, sorry.
yeah.
So the growth because of only increasing of data, or like, was there any other reasons?
Okay, there are a couple of reasons. One is rapid growth of data also. The other reason is like before, I mean, when I talk about last decade, it's been increasing. If you look last decade prior, right, the previous decade on all last, if you remove last 5 years, 6 years, if you look before that, right, they don't have something called cloud. Okay, so if you want, they want to analyze large amount of data, right? They have to buy like a lot of servers, right? And if they want to do a kind of analysis like 1 hour or something, right? They have to buy a server and own the server and then do that 1 hour analysis, whatever it is needed. right? And it is a kind of upfront cost. They need to pay for the server, they need to maintain it, they need to again put some resources, kind of human resources, to maintain that server and all that. Just like 1 hour job or 2 hour jobs for analytical purposes, right? And companies are not able to invest that much amount on the infra, right? So what happens, the cloud, when cloud comes, you no need to pay for the server. Whenever you're using that 1 hour or something, you pay for that 1 hour only. You don't need to pay for rest of the day, 24 hours. In 24 hours, you're using for 1 hour, you pay for 1 hour. If your analysis is completed within 1 hour, we'll charge you for 1 hour. So remaining 23 hours, you no need to pay. So in this way, what happens, right? On the companies, they don't have the burden to buy the servers and keep them, and to allocate human resources to maintain the servers, right? And after the job completion, they cannot get rid of the servers, right? It will be there. So it is not a business efficiency to analyze the data earlier. But the moment when cloud came, right, they can rent the server for 1 hour, 2 hour, or 3 hours, right? And if they have any one-time activity or two-time activities, they can go to cloud and rent a server. They can do that activity and give it back to the cloud itself, so that they will not bear any upfront costs. This is also one more reason why the demand in this role is increasing, because the cloud is giving them the power of a, you can imagine rental car, right? You want to go from place A to place B as a kind of a monthly once or something, right? Is it better to buy a car, or is it better to rent a car on that one day to go from place A to place B? So when you look at from your perspective, obviously you will rent a car because it's a one-time thing for a month, right? And if you buy a car for yourself, you have to take care of insurance, you have to take care of maintenance, right? You have to put the fuel. Either you have to drive yourself or you need to put in a driver, right? There is a lot of upfront cost for buying a car. 10 lakhs salary for entire month you need to give for a driver, like whatever it is, and you need to pay for petrol and all that. It's one-time activity, you cannot put this much, right, amount from your pocket. You rent a car and go, and once your job is done, you will give the car to that Uber or Ola, whatever it is, and you can get rid of that vehicle. The company is also looking at that. They don't want to spend on infrastructure. Whenever they want it, they want to use it, and where they don't want it, they want to give it back to the cloud itself. So that is another reason you can see of data engineering growth. And one more reason is like you have this technology. The third reason is like you have this technology called Spark, which we are discussing on earlier slides. The technology, so earlier this technology, what we are using for data engineers is called multiprocessing. Multiprocessing is nothing but, in your laptops you can see multiprocessing, right? In your laptops you have quad core, right, octa core and all that, dual core processor, Intel processor. So what it does is like dual core in the sense you have two CPU, independent CPUs inside your laptop, and because of that you are trying to do multiple tasks in your laptop, right? You can watch a movie in the back end, you can set a copy of your data to a pen drive, whatever it is, right? You can do a multitasking because there are two independent CPUs inside your laptop, right? But this compute is still within your machine, one single machine called laptop, but they are able to do two independent tasks simultaneously. That's called multiprocessing. If you are able to assign a task to a machine and a couple of tasks to a machine, and it can simultaneously work on your tasks, it's called multiprocessing. This is the technology was there in industry for a long time. If you look at the last decade, the moment they introduced something called distributed processing, so they moved from multiprocessing to a concept called distributed processing, where you can send a task, right? Any task which you want to do, right? You can break the task and you can send the task to multiple machines. Previously, you can send a task to one single machine. That's called multiprocessing. But you can break your task and send it to multiple machines, and the multiple machines will work together and complete your task. So that is much, much faster, because in one single machine, you have dual core, that is 2 CPUs. If you send it for 3 machines, you have 6 CPUs. That means 6 work, you can say, like in human, 6 people are working on a single task. Earlier, it was 2 people working on a single task. So this technology, right, where it will allow you to submit a task on multiple machines, right, instead of a single machine, that's called distributed processing. That has changed tremendously this, what do you call this, data engineer's role. So earlier, we don't have a technology to process faster, right, to get the insights. So we are limiting ourselves to harvesting the data which we really needed, right? We are not concentrating earlier all the data which are generating. We are concentrating on the data which we really needed. Now what happens, right? Because we have the compute power because of the distributed processing. So we are also thinking about, we gather the data as much as possible, right? And we put it to the system. When it comes to the time of analyzing the data, we'll try to analyze it, right? But for now, the data is getting generated. So you bring, as soon as it generates, you put it into your system, and computation comes later whenever we need it. So because of the cloud, right, you have storage and compute costs become very cheaper, right? And that's why people trying to bring whatever the data they are generated, the company is trying to bring and store it, right? That is also one more reason this role has been evolved. There are 3 reasons we discussed. One is basically the distributed processing, which came, and rapid generation of the data, and the cheaper storage costs and compute costs provided by the cloud, right? So cloud benefits and rapid generation of the data by the people, and the distributed technology, computing, which was not there earlier. These 3 actually made this role to shoot up. I hope you answered that question.
Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, one more question. What is the role of Azure in this data engineering?
Yeah, we can see that in its upcoming slides. We can look into that. Okay.
One more question. Any
Yeah.
other competitive tools is there compared to Spark?
So right now, Spark, as Kumar was saying, right? Spark is built by a CEO of Databricks, right? He open sourced it, right? And there are other companies took that open source. When you open source it, right, you are not holding any patent on that particular code, right? AWS and Azure and Google took this Spark, and they built their own version of Spark. But the creator, right, the creator of the Spark, he himself opened a company called Databricks, and he brought some features, right, very advanced features, right, as part of Databricks, which was not available for other competitors, right? There are competitors for Databricks, but their performance, right, when you run workloads in the competitors and when you run the workloads in Databricks, Databricks are quite like it complete very faster when compared to your competitors, because the Databricks people know how Spark works, and they know how the room for improvement, and they are trying to do that improvements. And but the new releases, right, they are not giving to the open source. They are holding the new features, they are not releasing for open source. So in this way, Databricks is like kind of an outlier, like they are doing very good. The other competitors are not even near to them in terms of processing the workloads.
So any difference Airflow and Snowflake or Databricks? These are all 3
Okay.
data engineering tools, right?
So see, Airflow, Snowflake, and Databricks are the tools, but they are not ETL tools, right? So Airflow, if you look at it, it's an orchestration tool. So if you create a kind of a extraction, transformation, and load process, you need to tell how to orchestrate, right? When you need to run it. You need to run it manually or some schedule time. That's the job of Airflow. Okay. And Databricks is concentrated on something called Lakehouse, right? So it is focused on Lakehouse in the sense it is focused on structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. That means you can bring your Excel sheets or CSV, that's a structured data, right? You can bring videos and photos, that is something called unstructured data. You can bring logs, system logs, that is something called semi-structured data. So Databricks is focused on all kind of data. They are not restricting themselves in structured data. Whereas Snowflake, they are focusing only on structured data. They don't have a kind of a capabilities to accommodate unstructured data, that is videos and photos. And they don't have a capability to accommodate semi-structured data, that is nothing but any log files if you want to store, right? They don't have that. Okay. So we have a very less time. I think I will move on. So there is a
Okay,
demo
okay.
for you guys. So we'll discuss after the demo completion. If anybody wants to discuss, we can discuss after this call. Okay.
Okay.
This is an average salary of a data engineer. So I am 11 plus experience, but this is an average. I am not in this salary range. I am in another range, right? Somewhere I'm here, but this is an average salary. You get it in industry. This is you can go much beyond this range, right? For an example, if you are a fresher or something, you have a range here 6 lakhs. What if you are able to grip this technology more? You can go towards 10 lakhs also. There is no upper limit, but minimum you get it for 6 lakhs. Okay. I am going to the next slide. So somebody asked me like how the Azure will play into this process, right? So if you look at this one, this is a kind of a layer of architecture which I was providing in this slide. So you have something called infrastructure here. So when I talk about infrastructure, it's about storage and compute. When you talk about laptop, right, you talk about the hard disk capacity and RAM capacity, right? That's why you're interested, like either 8 GB RAM or 250 GB hard drive, right? So servers also will be talking about RAM and storage. So here we get that RAM and storage from a cloud company called Azure. So that's where Azure will play a role. So we get something called Azure Blob. That is the service they gave for storage. And we get something called virtual machine. That is the name they gave it for a computation RAM kind of thing. And we use this two things, RAM and storage from Azure, right? And we will install some software called Databricks, like how you're installing software inside your laptop, right? Informatica or whatever, like PowerPoint presentation and all. You have some software running in your laptop. So similarly, we install something called Databricks. So Azure provides us infra here, and we'll install the software on top of it. Like they provide us server. Okay, that's where Azure will come into this picture. Okay, if you look at a database, like this is a Databricks, I just take a literal database. We talk about databases also in the course, which we dive deeper. If you enroll this course, we can talk about the databases. There also you can see, right, infrastructure will be taken from a cloud called Azure, and you will install something called SQL Server on it along with the server, and you use something called SQL Server client to connect with the server. So basically, all your infra needs you are pushing towards outsourcing towards cloud computing companies. And 3 major companies are Azure, AWS, and GCP. In this course, we will concentrate on Azure. So that's how Azure will come into picture. So we will try to install some softwares on Azure and then work on this software. Okay.
Yeah, Azure thing is a one-time setup or daily we need to maintain Azure.
So you don't need to do a mind of setup. It's a kind of automatic everything. So everything will be done by Azure company itself. You just need to tell them what kind of configurations you need. Like they have a lot of laptops, imagine. You need to tell whether you need a 8 GB or 250 GB hard drive, or you need 16 GB or 500 GB hard drive. right? You just need to put your configuration. They will help you to provision that server for you. Okay.
No, no. What I'm asking is, as a data engineer, do we have any extra work in Azure specifically other than this?
Yeah. So you just need to tell the capacity of your server, right? Which you want to run. If your workload is kind of a heavy, that means you are processing 100 GB or 200 GB of data. You might need.
No, no, I'm not asking these things. Like in Azure, actually, we know networking, creating virtual machines, all these things, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So we don't have any those kind of things in this role. I'm asking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we
You
have?
will not have that kind of other.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll be concentrating only data engineering.
Okay.
Okay. So I think, yeah, so one of the agenda of this meeting is to showcase you how it looks like in a real time, right? And so I just prepared a demo use case, like how a typical data engineering role looks like. So we can walk through this use case, and you will get a fair understanding what we will do on a day-to-day basis. So I have a question, like how many of you guys use this self-driving bikes in the cities? Nobody used it? Nobody heard about it? Okay, there is this company called Bounce. What they will do is like they will rent a bike to go from place A to place B. So this
I think previously in Hyderabad Bounce is there, but nowadays I don't know about the is there or not.
Okay, this use case is about Bounce kind of a company, right? They have bikes for rent, and what happens, right? In this use case, they plug their bikes with the virtual sensor, which will capture some kind of climatic conditions in the area where this bikes has been used, right? And as part of these demo use cases, what we are trying to understand is like, if I'm taking a bike, whether this is the right climate to take a bike or not outside and drive, or we have to refrain from taking bikes. So this use case will talk about so whether we can hire a bike now based upon the climate conditions, or whether we should refrain it from taking a bike now to go for a ride. Because if it is a sunny, if it is about to rain, you don't need to travel in a bike, right? So this use case will tell you how to understand the climatic conditions and all that. There are some sensors plugged in these bikes to get the weather conditions, right? And some of the important fields this bike is capturing is like something called season, whether it is winter, spring, summer, or fall. Like if you are taking bike on out on May month or something, it records as a summer season and all that. And it also capturing the month starting from January to December. It also captures some kind of a critical climatic metrics, is something called temperature, humidity, wind speed. So these are the critical fields these bike sensors will capture, right, as part whenever the user uses this bike. And tomorrow, next, I just want to find out a couple of business questions, right? So business will asking me, like kind of, there is a guy who wants to rent a bike. He was asking, can you give me like kind of a climatic conditions across all the seasons in India? So what happens is like, so we are trying to find out what are the extreme conditions, right, in India, if he wants to go with a bike. So we are trying to calculate nothing but what is the maximum temperature across the season, because this is there are 4 seasons. He wants to understand the maximum temperature in season 1, maximum temperature in season 2, 3, and 4, and also what is the maximum humidity I get it, and what is the maximum wind speed I get it, right, in all the seasons. If there is something minimum in these climatic conditions, he might be interested to take a bike in that season and go around the city. So one insight he wants is like, he wants to understand the conditions, climatic conditions across all the seasons. For that, we need to calculate something called maximum temperature, which we captured here, right, humidity and wind speed. Okay. The other thing is also, he also wants to understand something called average biking conditions. So if I take a bike, right, what will be the average biking conditions across the month? So that I will get, so that I will come to know which is a good month to take a bike, right? So here in this case, you need to find out average temperature of all the days in a month, average humidity and average wind speed of all days in the month, right? And here, extreme biking conditions in a month. So there are 12 months, right? There will be extreme temperature, humidity, wind speed, right? I don't want to go outside on that month. I just want to know which are those months, so that I will refrain taking a bike outside. I will try to prefer other modes of transport. So there are 3 challenges which is given to us. We just need to find out the right month or a season. In the first question, he wants to know the season. In the second and third questions, he wants to know what is the average temperature for a month. And in the last question, he was trying to understand what is the peaks of temperature you get in a month, right? These are very good use cases. Like you will have business scenarios like this. So we can see how we can translate it into kind of a data engineering requirement. So have you understood these questions?
Yeah, got it.
So let's go into something called Databricks. So we were talking about the Databricks is a company which is created a Spark and all that, right? So this is something called Notebook, and this is a website which they have it. So here I took an example of bike sharing, right? The first thing is like we talked about ETL, right? So I'm just trying to highlight here what we are trying to do. So now we are getting the data in something called a file, right? So first job is like, so for an example, I'm just going back. So we are building something, an architecture like this, just for your understanding purpose, I created this diagram. So we are getting all the sensor data in something called a file. Okay. We are, as part of first step, we are extracting the data and putting into some entity called table. We can look at what are tables in the codes. And from there, we are trying to put a kind of a first question related requirements and second question related requirements as a transformations, and third question related requirements as a transformations. Okay. And loading into different tables like table 2, table 3, table 4. And we can look into the course what is table. For now, you can understand it's kind of a place to store the data. And then we'll try to provide insights for the business users, because if I show the data to them, they will not understand anything. So I'm just trying to make it a more pictorial representation so that he can understand what is happening in each and every month. And right, whether he will decide whether he can take a bike outside or he need to refrain taking bike outside. Okay, then let's go to demo. Okay, just I just want to quickly go because we are already 1 minute away. So yeah, so first thing, as you see in the diagram, so you are extracting the data. So I'm extracting the data in this step through a file. Okay, I'm just running this step. So it's the data has been extracted and loads in something called a df variable. So you don't bother about these variables, this code and all now. This is just for you understanding how it looks like. And I am trying to create a table here. So something called bike share. And I will load the extracted data, whichever is present in this CSV, right? I'm loading in this step into this table. Okay. And here I'm trying to understand I am trying to address the first question, like the extreme conditions across all the seasons, right? That's what I need to calculate. Here we are just using something called max temperature, humidity, maximum humidity, and maximum. Okay, are you guys are not able to see the Databricks console?
Yes, it is not visible.
No.
What about now?
Yes.
Sorry, like yeah, I don't know, like you're not able to see it. Okay, so here this is a Databricks console, whatever you see here. So this is something called notebook, right? And this notebook name is bike sharing. Okay, here as you see in the diagram which I explained earlier, are you able to see the diagram, right? Data architecture diagram, this one. Yeah. So I'm trying to do a first step extraction and storing something in a table, and then applying the 3 questions related transformations and storing it into 3 tables, and then I'm trying to visualize it, right? To understand which season is good to take out the bike. Okay, I'm coming back to notebook. You're able to see notebook screen? Databricks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can see.
So first step, I'm just trying to extract the data, right? This is a data extraction. You no need to worry about the commands, right? You just need to, for now, just I'm executing for you to understand. And whatever the data extracted from CSV, like file, I'm just putting it in a table called bike share, right? And this is, I'm trying to address the first question, maximum temperature, humidity, wind speed, right? So something called max temp, humidity, and wind speed, I'm trying to calculate it across the season. So I'm just running it. This will give me some kind of an answers. I'm trying to store this result in a table called max climate seasons, because we are trying to calculate maximum climatic conditions across the seasons, all right? And we look into this data, something called max climate seasons, the table which we created earlier. So here you have decimal points, right? If I give this data as it is to the business, they cannot understand. Maybe you might not even understand what is happening here. So for an example, here you have something called visualizations in Databricks, where you can create a chart, pictorial representation for your business to understand it. So I have pulling something called temperature, wind speed, and humidity. These are the climatic conditions which I'm interested. And I am trying to check this across the seasons. So I'm just putting my x-axis as a season and y-axis as temperature, wind speed, and humidity. I'm trying to do something called maximum for this one, whatever is there across the season, and try to apply it. So if you look at this diagram, right, here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 seasons like summer, fall, winter, right, and monsoon. So here you can see easily, like this red color represents temperature, green color wind speed, and blue color is humidity. So you can see here, like the humidity is more in 4th season. It has 0.975 matrix. So if somebody asks you a question like where the humidity is more, you can easily tell by looking at this picture. And the temperature is very less here, 0.657, and the wind speed is also less here, right? So in a way or other, this is kind of ideal season to travel, to take out a bike, the 4th season. Right. In this way, you can understand and provide insights to your business, which is the best season to take out your bike. Okay. Then I'm just moving to the second question. What are the average temperature, humidity, and wind speed across all the months? Now here seasons are comprised of 3 months, right? That's why there are 4 seasons. Now we are trying to drill down something called, we are looking at each and every month, how the temperature, humidity, wind speed are present, right? And we are trying to calculate an average thing. We don't want extreme, or we don't want like kind of a very low, minimal. We are trying to do something called average. So that's why we're trying to calculate something called average, right? Average across wind speed, humidity, and temperature. Don't worry about the columns. We can discuss in the course. But I just want to let you know how we can understand this data, and we can just analyze it. So I created something called average climate months, right? And I'm trying to run this table. And here you have something called months, starting from 1 to 12. There is something called temperature, humidity, wind speed. This is an average temperature, humidity, and wind speed. And if you look at the numbers, you will not understand anything. So if you want to tell to business, right, you just need to tell them in kind of a visualization way. So I'm trying to just drag and drop month, and then I'm trying to drag and drop temperature, wind speed, and humidity here. So here I'm trying to calculate the average thing. Okay. And see, this bar diagram looks very, very clumsy. I just want to change it to diagram called line chart. Just line chart so that it can understand it more easily. So and then applying it this one here. So if you look at this thing, right, this is kind of months starting from 1 to 12. So if you put here cursor, this is the 12th month. So if you look at here, wind speed is somewhere around 0.22, and this is very minimal when this is minimal when compared to peak. And here you can see the temperatures are rising around June and July. That's where the temperatures are rising high, because that might be the season of summer, right? And when you go towards Christmas time and all that, December, the temperatures are very, very low. And in terms of January, February also temperatures are low. Starting from March, you can see the temperature is rising high. If you want to avoid sunny days and all that, you should not take a bike in this time. And if you want low temperatures, you can take out your bike here. So in this way, you can understand, right? How much humidity is there also, you can see it. You can see maximum humidity in this timeline around the 9th month, right? Because x-axis is 9, right? 10th month, you have a lot of humidity, and there is a decrease in humidity in the November 11th month. Okay. In this way, you can also understand which month you have high temperatures and which month you have low temperatures. You can take out your bike according to that. This is an average temperature and average humidity and average wind speed. Okay. Let's calculate across maximum temperature, maximum humidity, maximum wind speed in a month. Like a month has 30 days, right? You take out the maximum temperature in that 30 days and try to put it as a visualization next step. So here I'm just trying to calculate the maximum of everything across the months. In first question, we are trying to calculate across the seasons, right? A season has 3 months. Here we are trying to do it much granular level at a month level. So I'm just trying to apply the transformation here and trying to load it. And yeah, I'm trying to kind of look into how the maximum temperatures looks for every season. And still I have seen some numbers. It's very hard to find out which is maximum, which is minimal. So let's go and plot this one. So let's drag this month as my x-axis, because I want to see month in my x-axis. And then we drag this temperature, wind speed, and humidity here. So values. And we are trying to do a maximum thing. And you can plot this one. So now you can see, right, every month you can see here how the climate looks like. If you look at temperatures is somewhere low in December, November, January, February. That's kind of a winter season. If you see, right, high temperatures are seen in the month of July and August. This might be the data from US. Okay, don't put it in Indian context. Okay. And yeah, if you look at wind speed, see, you cannot ride a bike if you have a large, I mean, when I say bicycle, you have a huge wind speed. So you try to avoid it whenever there is a maximum wind speed there, because it will try to push you in opposite direction if you are going against it. So it's better to avoid bike riding on February if you are taking out bicycle. So in this way, you get insights of your data, and business will take decisions, right? This is one example, bike sharing example. As a bike sharing user, I just want to go out for biking in a favorable conditions. I don't want to go out in a rain, or I don't want to go out in extreme conditions and all that. So how I will be extracting data, transforming data, and loading it and understanding the data is what I show in this notebook. This is how you will be helping out your companies to understand their business and take the right decisions. Right here, I'm trying to take a decision when to go out, when not to go out. Your business also will try to take a decision based looking at this data, harvesting it, and looking into insights. So this is a short demo, and we are already 10 minutes late. So you can let me know if you have any questions, we can discuss it.
Yeah, what is the course content and what is the syllabus? And how
Uh,
many days we need to learn these things as a fresher? We don't know anything.
Yeah.
Kumar, do you have course content with you?
Yes. So I'll be sharing the course content with all of you. But again, in general, the first thing is, when we're talking about data engineering, probably you may have understood, what are the requirements. One is Azure Cloud. So we will be going with the Azure fundamentals. So there's also an official certification, AZ900, and you'll be able to cover that, so which is required. And then you'll be going with the SQL, the full SQL course as part of this training. And then you'll be going with the Python course, which is required for as a data engineer, and then Spark. So these are the 4 things which are generally covered after having an understanding of the demo. And I'll be sharing that course content right away on the chat, and that will help you.
And sorry to interrupt. And is there any like opportunity to meet you in person?
Yeah, so we are located, so we can give the address of our
Yeah.
institute. You can come over and then you can have a better discussion. Yes.
Okay, definitely.
Super. So I see there are some questions coming. So Supraja has a question on placement opportunities. That's a good question. And also we understand that this is for freshers, okay? And this batch is an associate level trainings and targeted for freshers from 0 to 2 years of experience. And of course, placements are very important here. Now, for a placement, so there are 2 options which we are planning. One is internship opportunities. So we have tie-up with an organization called Regional Technologies based out of Bangalore. So they offer internship opportunities for people who are really delivering good results. It's one of the best organization if you wanted to try some new products which they're implementing, and they wanted to take some interns for the training as part of their training programs again. So that would help any, I mean, as an experience, you'll get an experience and you learn a lot. So that is one which is already confirmed through this course. And the second one is, so we'll also be able to promote your resumes to the organizations. We have some type with some organizations. Small startups are also there. And again, we'll also have some mid-tech companies, which generally has very good number of data engineers. And again, MNCs are also there. So where we'll be sending your resumes. So I think, see, if your skill set is very good, I don't think would be any problem in the placement opportunities. And as we were talking about data engineer, the number of data engineers at the entry level are you can think of a very handful number of people are there, not so many. And this is the first time, this kind of program is coming for data engineers at the starting level. So you'll be more sought after because you're already trained professional. So easy to get you placed. Believe me, so the use case which Venkat sir has taught you, you can build a use case. After this training, we definitely make sure that, you'll be able to launch your own GitHub repository where you'll be able to, create your own data engineering specific project on your own. And believe me, do that. It's easy for you to crack a job without much effort. So that's what we can assure you. So yeah, so we do placement assistance that's going to be available as part of the course.
Kumar, one more question. Actually, we are from a non-coding background. Any adults we will face at our learning level, like Python is there.
Yeah, so
Spark is there.
Yeah, that's a good question. See, don't worry on the coding. If you see in the demo what Venkat sir has showed, you can see only 7 lines of code are there. Okay. See, previously you have to write 100 lines of code in the past. Okay. Using the high-level APIs, the number of coding lines has gone down. Okay. That's the reason we are talking about data engineering. That's also one other thing. And also understand this. This is a very basic. We go with very basic level of training. So as I said, right, we go with SQL and we go with Python basics, and then we'll take you to the data engineering aspects. And also don't expect that you'll become, we expect you to become a Python developer, or companies expect you to become a very senior Python developer. And that's not what is important. What is important is how you understand, one of the program language, choose Python for it, because that is the most sought after program language by data engineers and data scientists. Learn it for your data engineering capability implementation, which is Spark. So it will be easy. It won't be difficult for you. So that we can assure. We'll go through the basics for you. And even if it is a non-IT, we have seen many people who are even coming from the BCom graduates in the past classes who are able to successfully get placed, and they're doing really better than the IT folks. All right. So this is also a certification course from Data Engineering Institute. So as part of the training, we'll also be issuing a certificate once you complete the course, and also there will be real-time projects. So real-time projects will be given. One will be you also have to contribute, as we said. So once you're able to successfully do it, you'll be able to get a course completion certificate from Institute of Data Engineering.
What is the duration of this course?
Yeah, so the duration of the course is the plan was for 2 months. So there was a plan to go with the weekends and weekdays as well. Weekends, the plan was from 2 to 3 hours. Again, initially we'll be going little slow to make sure that everybody come into the level. So 2 months is the max we are telling. And weekdays probably we're planning in the early mornings, probably 1 hour, right? So 1 hour or 2 hours, as per the convenience of all, so that we can have a separate discussion on the time. But mostly from 7 to 10 usually the timings. And if you have only freshers in the batch, probably will be we can take any time. But if it is some 0 to 2 years experience candidates who are also working in non-IT jobs and who want to take it, probably we have to adjust to 7 to 9.
Okay. And like, how much will it cost for us to spend on it? Some kind of like how much?
So expenses and all, will be taken care by Sanjay sir. So Sanjay will be taking care. So if you do the interest, right, so we can have a separate discussion.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Sorry, the finance team will take care of that. So please, I mean, if you are interested with it, we can point you to the right people for that discussion.
Yeah, got it.
All right. Anyone has any questions, anything technical or anything about career, please feel free to ask right now.
No, not right now.
All right.
Yeah, hi. Now we are aiming to data engineer. What is our next 5 years or next 10 years after data engineer? What we can upgrade ourselves?
Okay.
What is the option?
Hari, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, you're thinking for the longer perspective. See, you probably know the career starts with a data engineer. So, and again, you're also actually working on database kind of platform, which you call it as a lakehouse. Okay. So lakehouse is a combination of data warehouse, which any ETL will do, and also the data lake solutions. Okay. So Venkat have pointed out, you have structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data. When you go this combination side, so that would be the next level, which will be working on those kind of data sets. And Databricks is giving options of, going for the data science and machine learning. So you have data warehouse and data lake in the same solution. So you can actually use machine learning libraries, models, you can build them in the same Databricks console only. So we have options of it. And as we can say, we're talking about Databricks as a platform which we are learning at this time. So you can go to the next level of data science also, data science and machine learning after this course. After the next 3 to 4 years, you can think of.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And one more question: as a fresher, how much we can expect salary?
Yeah, I think the salary question was covered by Venkat sir. Again, as I say, right? So
Yeah,
we're
that
going
is
with
covering
we're
like
going with
0
an
to 3
average.
years.
Yeah, 0 to 3 years. So
Yeah.
usually any company will have the bracket of 0 to 3 years, almost a similar one. So that would be around mostly an average of 5 to 6 lakhs is what I say. So
As a
we try
fresher
to be
with
one.
zero
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to be very conservative as a median salary, because any fresher salary in India will be mostly starting at 3 lakhs. Right? So, but a data engineer, skilled engineer, will have a different salaries within a very short time. So if you see TCS and all, right? So we do have, TCS has separate wing for digital. TCS digital you can tell. So if you are joining as a data engineer, okay, so they won't give you 3 lakhs, okay, they'll give you 4.2. Okay, so believe me, I mean, this is all happening right now because your skill set is a digital skill set, okay, which helps the organization grow, and you get into a different pay bands. So this is happening in a lot of organizations. So your salary may not be a general fresher salary, but even if it is just like that, generally for 1 year, it will definitely increase by 30% easily every year on year, because you will feel that, because you are actually so definitely your skills are higher, and you can see the skill average of the organization every 1 year. So you are in a better place, and the salary will be at, as I said, right, the median would be around 5 to 6 lakhs in general. It has to grow very quickly. And entry level is all depends on, companies and organization, but you take an internship as we are providing. I think it will also help you to get an experience of at least 6 to 8 months of internship, and then you join, you get a better pay, like 5 lakhs easily. Those are things that can also contribute to higher salaries.
Sir, one more question.
Yes.
Sir, one more doubt.
Yes.
So there will be bond also, sir?
There are no bonds and all like that for those. But again, it all depends on, how you do. And again, the project requirements and all, those for the internship programs. So those plays an important role. Yeah, bonds won't be there generally, so it's very rare we have seen. But when you join any company, companies may ask for a bond. It depends on, on their own reasons of the project and deliveries, what they're expecting.
Yeah, one more question. As a data engineer, what is the real-time example? Already told one example. Other examples, what are?
See, there are a lot of examples that we can bring in. I mean, depends on which sector you wanted to take it. Okay, so I think I'll give that to Venkat sir to give certain examples. Venkat sir, can you share some examples for Hari?
One more addition. Like, are we covering any projects in this real-time projects?
Oh, you're asking for the yes, exactly. So see, the demo use case is very small. It's just to making sure that you are viewing, a simple architecture was given, and we're doing it very quickly on how you execute and how you get the insights very quickly, right, using the graphs. Now this is very small, but we'll be having real-time projects which usually you have to complete it. So you may have to write some specific code set. As I said, we have to go with the GitHub repository, and you have to create multiple code lines. So that is planned. So it all depends on when you do a resume preparation, right? So the candidate, right? So what is better for him? So we have 3 to 4 use cases for projects which we'll be giving to you, and we'll be working on it real time.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. All right, everyone. Anybody has any other questions?
No.
Okay. So then, thank you all. So if there are any questions you guys have, and if you want any career guidance or anything you wanted to share, please reach out to me. I'm also there in the WhatsApp group. You can directly message me, and we can help you out. Okay. So this course will be starting early next week. So whoever is interested, please let us know, and we'll take your application. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.